What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the rePORTER Show, man. As always, I got my co-host with me. I got Deb on my left. I got Tuck on my right. I'm going to go ahead and take this one on to football. Football had a matchup against Langston. As you all know, the matchup against Langston determined some pretty big things for the football team this year. If we would have won this game against Langston, we would have been 5-5 on the regular season, so we would have been 500 on the regular season, and we would have been 4-4 in conference, and we would have been, I believe, tied for fourth winning this game against Langston. So we came into this game, and as you know, we got the backup QB in, the freshman guy. Nothing against the freshman, but you know how it is as a freshman, especially when you haven't started all year. It's going to take you some time to get into the rhythm. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. And so that was very evident here because the first 3 quarters we only got 1 touchdown. So it's hard for us to get our offense going. The biggest thing that I noticed, though, same thing I talked about last week, we moved away from the running game. DJ and Red only had 13 touches together, total. Combined. The entire game. Wow. The last game, we'll get back to that, but I'm going to keep on with this game. But only 13 touches. So that was a little strange for me to see. And Langston, on the other end, defensively, you know, when you're getting a lot of stops offensively, that means your defense is on the field a lot of the time. And when your defense is on the field a lot of the time, they're probably going to get tired. Yeah. So Langston was capitalizing. They ended up scoring 3 touchdowns. And by the time the fourth quarter rolled around, we was down 21-7. So, fourth quarter rolls around, BP gets the call. Starting QB last year, had the job taken away from him this year. And a lot of times, if you're getting the call this late in the year, a lot of guys don't respond well. But BP responded very well. Had a big drive at the end, an 8-play, 83-yard drive, led by some big play from BP. He had a 30-yard rush right here, getting up the middle, breaking it downfield for us, you know, getting into that red zone. Then he finished off here with a pass.
Good ball. Josiah had 2 touchdowns.
Jalen Reed.
Jalen Reed, yeah.
Jalen Reed. So he had a good ball to Jalen Reed. And Josiah broke free over the top, gave him a perfect ball right in stride, and we were able to score. So now what's the score? It's 20-21. Big decision here for a coach. Do you go for the win or do you go for the tie? What would you have done in this situation?
It's going to really depend on momentum and how the course of the game is going, honestly. And if, you know, the offense hasn't been that dominant, I might go for the tie just to play it safe and trust in my defense to get a stop when we come back in OT.
What about you?
I mean, I don't know, man. The season is over after pretty much regardless, the season is over after the game. So me, if I'm the head coach, I'm letting them hang. I'm going for the win, bro.
That's exactly my thought process. Because it's the end of the season. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It's the end of the season. It's like at this point you don't really have anything to lose.
Yeah, you don't. And that being said, I mean, the defense was on the field a lot of the game. So it's like, not that you don't have trust in them to get a stop, but you can't ask for them to get another stop. You rather just roll the dice, in my opinion.
Who do you give the ball to?
You throw a jump ball to Josiah Barron.
I'm going to jump ball to Josiah. There's no question there. And I don't have that play. I did watch it. But we ended up going for the extra point here. And we didn't get it. But it was honestly a really, really close attempt. I can't remember if it was Josiah or if it was a back coming out of the backfield, dropping out to the left side of the end zone, to the flat. And we got the ball to him, but I'm not going to put it on one person. But the thing was, he didn't really catch it in stride. So instead of catching it and fighting to the corner, he had to stop, turn around, and try to bust it back up. And he wasn't able to get to the end zone. So we ended up losing this one, 21-20. Josiah had another big game, 100-yard game, man, 100-plus yard game. It was 131 yards and 2 TDs. So the man had a crazy year. And we haven't had the opportunity to get him on the show, but I promise y'all, I think we're going to do a special. We're not going to do it on the show because I want to have time to break down what he did this year and some other guys on the team. So we're going to do a little football special for the guys that had some really big impact on football this year. And we'll come back, I don't know when with that, but we're going to come out with that. So not able to get him on the show today, but boy, that's a big game from him.
Yeah, I mean, he had a historic season.
He did.
I know he had the most receiving yards that a receiver has ever had, probably the most receptions, probably the most touchdowns. I mean, he had the most receiving yards in one game. I mean, he broke pretty much every record there was to break.
To be a receiver, he broke probably every
he
record
has
a
every
receiver
record
can
at
break.
Wayland, so definitely cemented his legacy in the Wayland history books after this season.
Yeah, no, he definitely did his thing and did his thing with a very powerful offense overall. You know what I'm saying? Still managed to shine. And I'm not going to say necessarily be the star player, but really be a very dominant factor in what
that was a
this
star.
team.
That was a star.
Not the star,
I'm
but
gonna tell y'all this much. We're gonna be watching him on a different team on Saturdays next year. I can pretty much guarantee that. It wouldn't shock me at least.
I hear you. I'm gonna talk a little bit more about this game, man. What I want to say is we lost this game and we went 4-6 on the year, and 3-5 in conference play, or 3-4, I believe. I don't know, man. I'm sorry if I messed that up. But anywho, we not at 500, basically, is what I'm saying. And so it's 3-5 in conference. So the last 2 games that we've played were the least amount of rushing yards we've had all year, other than the game that we had against Ottawa. Last week we had a game where we rushed for a total of 43 yards. This week we rushed for a total of 139 yards. Why? I mean, like, to me, especially when you have a freshman quarterback in the game, why would you put more plays on him?
Don't put it all.
You know what I'm
all the
saying?
pressure on him. Yeah.
At this point in time, I would be leaning more on the ground game.
Especially when your running backs have been so dominant all year.
Yes.
I mean, like they. Excuse me.
Get it out.
My fault. But you're splitting touches essentially with 2 very dominant running backs. Yet both managed to be in the top 5 at one point in the season.
Yeah.
And it's like, they're clearly the best in the conference. Why not feed them the rock and let them do what they do?
And my thing is I get they're dealing with injuries. I get they had some injuries here at the end of the season, and you might not want to bang them up anymore. But
It's like, what are we holding back for?
Yeah. What are we holding back for?
Game of the year too.
You know what I'm saying? And I know they have NCCAA possibly, because we're in that now, so that might still be an option. But I don't care. You got guys that have been producing for you all year. Why would you wait till the end of the year to pull the cord on them?
That's got to be some frustration for them too as well. Like I've been busting my tail all year. Yeah. And it's been working despite a couple of tough losses, and you have 2 very winnable games. Should have been
lost both of them.
Both of them very, very close, and I think shouldn't have been that close if you get them their touches like they should.
I think so too, and I think a lot of it also, obviously teams who, especially in our conference, have been keeping up with us and scouting and watching them to dominate the rest of the conference. So, like I know Texas College loaded the box. They pretty much just dared us to pass the ball because the run wasn't gonna happen. And then Langston, they might have loaded it too, but I just think a lot of teams probably scouted it and focused on stopping that, and maybe that's why we shot away from it. But yeah, like you said, I mean, it's our last game. It's like, why are we leaving any gas left in the tank? Like, I think we should give them both 10 touches minimum each, in my opinion. But that's
but it was a tough loss, and it was a tough way, honestly, to end the year with 2 losses, expecting to honestly win out. I'm not gonna lie to you, expecting to win out.
I think everybody
Yeah.
Everybody expected that.
Yeah, I mean, the talk was that with about 3 or 4 games left, well, we're gonna, at absolute worst, we'd be 5-5.
5-5 or 6-4.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying?
We are 4 and
here
6.
we are 4 and 6. So I don't know, man.
The potential for where the season should have ended.
Yeah.
Wasn't
where
met.
we. It wasn't.
The thing I'm gonna say about football this year is they obviously took a huge step in the right direction. I think they got a little bit complacent. They had some clout, and a lot of people were giving them credit, and then they lost games they shouldn't have lost to. They said, oh, well, we're going to beat Texas College. They lost that, a close one. We're going to beat Langston. That was a close one. But even just the whole season, you look back, we really had 4 games that we very well could have won, that being Texas College, Langston, Sul Ross, and then, I mean, we had Texas Wesleyan. We had them pinned against the ropes, too. So, like, when we take that away, we were 4 and 6, and we could have very well been 8 and 2 if we finished a couple of those games.
Definitely there, and I think it was a great thing to see, especially from a team who had been down for so long. For this, like for that group, for this team to have been almost, I guess, dissed on, ultimately by a lot of people. Like nothing was expected. The preseason rankings, as we had talked about, weeks ago, had them as a very bad team, and I feel like this team went out and proved
They proved something.
most definitely.
They
Definitely put the
did.
script.
And so it's props to y'all, man. And of course, we're gonna highlight some of y'all later on this semester before we close some things out. But we're gonna go ahead and jump on the volleyball. Volleyball had a matchup against John Brown at the SAC tournament, man. As you all know, John Brown, we split the season with John Brown. We swept them, they swept us. So this was a game where we was gonna really see, is it gonna be another sweep? Is it gonna be another sweep?
Yeah.
And it looked like it was gonna be another sweep. I ain't gonna lie to you. Set 1 and set 2, we played terrible. I don't understand. I won't say I don't understand because I know sometimes you just have off days. But I just feel like when you get to that conference tournament, you got to be hungry.
You don't have time to have off days.
You got to be. You got to be gritty. You got to be wanting to win this game. And we lost set 1, 25-21, and we lost set 2, 25-19. So these don't sound like bad games, right? But the hitting percentages, we had a total average from those first 2 sets of a .089 hitting percentage. That's a lot of errors.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's too many.
That's a lot of errors and not enough offensive pressure. So of course they're gonna take them. Then we go into set 3, and because we were struggling, you know, as a coach, your job is to make adjustments, right? And that's exactly what he did. He made some adjustments. He put in, I believe, they are either 2 freshmen or they're just 2 newcomers.
I know one of them was a freshman.
Yeah,
for sure.
that we haven't seen a lot this year. He put in Emma Scott and Ilgen Ada. I'm gonna say this name, and I'm saying right now, I'm sorry if I don't get it right. Ilgen Ada Cacaron. I believe that's the name. 2 players that we haven't seen a lot this year. And they really turned the tide for us. I was gonna put some highlights showing them doing their thing, but they took the stream down. I don't know why they took the stream down. Y'all win the game, why would you not win it? Anywho, they had some really big performances. Ilgen ended up with 10 kills with a .455 hitting percentage. So we took over set 3, and I'm gonna put it all on them. They brought some new energy to the court, after the first 2 sets, just absolutely terrible play from the team as a whole. And we turned some things around. We won set 3, 25-12. So very dominant. So I'm thinking, okay, they turn the tides. We're gonna come out here and win the next 2, and we're gonna move on to the next round. That's not what happened, man. We got to set 4. It was another tight match, but we ended up losing 26-24. They ended up with 12 kills, had some good individual performances, but as a team, we have struggled with slow starts all year. I mean, even when you see the team comparison here, you got a .085% hitting percentage in that first set, a .094 hitting percentage in that second set against a team that's got 15, 14 kills in those first 2 sets with only a couple errors. That's not gonna win you any matches.
Yeah.
And we've done that time and time again this year. How many times have we talked about them coming out slow and having to fight back?
It's been the story of the team.
Yeah.
You can't rely on that, especially in a big game like this. What I do want to give props to the 2 newcomers or whatever that came in, because turning the tide like that, you wouldn't really expect, especially if you haven't seen them in the rotation like that all year. It's almost like, you know, they're probably there just kind of chilling, you know, like their mindset on, you know, I'm just going to support my team, be a good teammate, have good energy, and then next thing you know, their number's called.
They in the game.
And they in the game, and they most definitely stepped up and did their job, did what they were asked to do. And like you said, turn the tide in that third set.
Absolutely.
I agree. Yeah, I mean, you got to give them props. I was watching on my phone, and I kind of saw them go in, and I was like, I mean, I'm not gonna say I was shocked, but I was just kind of like, well, I haven't seen them, and this is a crucial game. Like we'll see what they're made of, and they did not disappoint by any means. I mean, it seemed like the whole energy just instantly changed as soon as they got in and got the first couple points, got the nerves out the way. It seemed like they were ready to go after that.
That's exactly what happened, man. But it's tough to have a great performance like that, especially with that being probably, I won't say their first game. I'm pretty sure they've been in this season, but one of the first games where the pressure is sort of around you to perform.
And the game's on the line.
And the game is on the line.
You're down 2 sets.
Yeah.
Get thrown in, like right into
In
the
the
fire.
conference tournament.
In the conference tournament, back against the wall. Like,
Yeah.
Yeah.
And they made it happen.
Yeah.
So like Deb said, it's props to y'all, man, but a tough ending to the season there. Just the story of the season really is just slow starts.
Slow starts,
You know,
man.
the slow starts, man. You got to get over those slow starts. Of course, they have the NCCAA tournament coming up, and we'll get into that later on. Next, men's soccer. Also at the NCCA regional semifinals, facing off against Ecclesia tonight. So we don't have nothing for men's soccer right now, but we will next week. They're at a tournament right now. They're actually playing like I said, later tonight. So if y'all want to tune into that, I don't know if it's free or not. I hope it's free, but they probably gonna be charging. So they do. They try to get their money, man. But we're gonna take this one on in men's wrestling. Men's wrestling had a matchup. Well, not a matchup. They were at a tournament at the Grandview Open. They had some big competition, some top 25 D1 schools competing. Iowa, Iowa State, Northern Iowa. So in Iowa, they not playing about wrestling. If you in Iowa, if you in Iowa, you a dog. Yeah. So there were 2 tournaments in this one, I guess, Open. On one side, it was just the open bracket, and then on the other side, it was the freshman, sophomore bracket. So they split them up a little bit. On the open side, we had 7 guys. Of course, at 149, 9th ranked, Alex Pena won his first 2 matches, one by pin, and the other by decision 10-3. Then he had a matchup against a guy from Northern Iowa. And like I said, these are top 25 D1 schools, man. This ain't nothing to be played with. Now, I'm not taking nothing away from them, but that's like, at the end of the day, if y'all was to go run up against, I don't even know, like, go play Texas. You know what I'm saying? It's not that you're not gonna put up a fight, but let's be real. Let's be realistic.
There's levels.
There's levels to the game. And this man right here from Northern Iowa was able to get the job done against Alex, and he ended up losing 8-3 and ended up in the consolation bracket. As you know, the consolation, you're competing for 3rd place. Nothing came out of that. At 285, 19th ranked Emmett Bivens won his first 3 matches by pin, decision 11-5, and then a medical forfeit. So I don't know if he busted dude nose or something, but he couldn't continue on the fight. So
he did something right.
Exactly.
He was all right, but Emmett, you did something right. I mean,
that boy out there doing MMA, ain't he? But something. But so he ended up making it to the semifinals. But he ended up facing a D1 opponent from, Northern Iowa. So he ended up losing this one by pin. But he ended up placing 5th overall for his weight class. So that was a big finish for him. On the freshman sophomore side, we took 4 guys. Didn't have – actually, I take that back. We took 4 guys, and 3 of them had some really good performances for us. At 125, Jared Quinlan won his first 2 matches, one by pin and one by major decision, 20-10. So handling business right there before running into an opponent from Nebraska. And then he got sent to the consolation bracket. Nothing came out of that. At 141, Nathaniel Ruiz won his first 3 matches, 2 pins and one by decision, 9-6. And then he got sent to the consolation bracket. Nothing came of it, but finished up 4-2 over the tournament.
Yeah, so you got a winning record. You
That's
finished
not
with
a
a winning
bad
record.
record.
You did your job.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
At 174, Ethan Frank won his first 2 matches, one by pin and one by major decision, 14-1. So he was handling his opponent. Then he got sent to the consolation bracket as well. Nothing came of it. So the men's, nobody placed individually, 1st, 2nd, or 3rd. But overall, I think it was a decent tournament. It was a decent tournament. You faced some really tough competition.
I think going against people, who you're more ranked, not ranked against, but you know what I mean. Like
I get it.
Like more of the.
Like you said, there's levels.
Yeah,
Let's be real.
there's levels to
You
this.
ain't
So
gotta
I
sugarcoat
think when it comes to that, we went and handled business.
Yeah, we did.
I would say so,
A few
too.
major decision wins and stuff like that. So that's great to see.
Yeah.
I mean, it's like, well, if we're out there competing with Northern Iowa, Iowa State, Nebraska, it's like, well, I mean, what NAI is going to really give us trouble? It's like, if we can compete with those guys, we can compete with anybody at this level. So I think they went home with a good attitude, or they should have at least feel good about the team going forward.
Yeah. And see, that's the interesting thing about wrestling. On the men's side, wrestling is sort of spread out talent-wise, but on the women's side, which is what we're about to get into, most of the talent's in the NAIA. Because D1 schools were very late to add women's wrestling programs.
Okay.
So more people trickled to the NAIA because a lot of women were coming up through high school wrestling. And they was like, oh, y'all ain't gonna offer us? Okay, we're going NAIA. So NAIA is pretty stacked on the women's side. So let's go on to women's wrestling. Women's wrestling had a duels match against Grandview. So this ain't no tournament. This is a team v team, just like against Jarvis, I think it was at the beginning of the year, just like that. So they were facing off against a #1 ranked team in the nation in the NAIA, Grandview. And I ain't gonna lie, these girls ain't ranked #1 in the nation for nothing. I ain't gonna lie. We were only able to take 3 out of the 10 matches, and there were 4 ranked matchups. And they had 2 or 3 girls that didn't compete that were ranked in the top 20. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, these girls, yeah, they pretty legit.
Little stack, yeah.
So, of course, at 138, who else? We got some new rankings out, by the way. Jordan Suarez, third in the nation
As she
now.
should be.
As she
Yeah,
should be.
we've
You know,
been
after them
saying
couple
that.
of, she's undefeated on the year, if you don't know. If you've been keeping up with the show and you've been keeping up the stats, you know she undefeated on the
Handling
year.
business.
She either 7-0 or 8-0. I don't know. I ain't got time to go look, but she undefeated. That's all we need to know. Third ranked in the nation. She won by tech fall, 12-2. Who has given her competition?
Yeah, no, not even close. I mean,
Who
nobody
has
got
given her
close to
competition?
Nobody.
I mean, it's either you getting pinned or you getting beat by tech fall.
Yeah.
My goodness. Number one better be coming soon. Anywho, at 160, Mahogany Castle won by decision 9-6. And at 180, 16th ranked Audrey Lockhart had a matchup against the third ranked opponent in her weight class in the NAIA, and she won by decision 9-6. So we stole something. You know, we didn't get what we wanted, but we stole something.
For sure.
So, women's ended up losing 34-11 as a team, and they fall to 1-1 on the year in duels match. But ain't nothing wrong with that. Like I said, the new rankings came out. We are now in the top 20. They do top 20s for wrestling, not top 25. We are now in the top 20, and we are ranked 16th women's wrestling. So props to y'all, and congrats to y'all. I know we had some new rankings. Like I said, Jordan Suarez is ranked third in the nation, and we had some new rankings for men's and women's, but we ain't got time to get into all that. We're going to take this one on to cross country. At the NCCAA championships, on the women's side, running the 5K, y'all already know who I'm finna say, Immaculata, placing in that top 5 in 4th place with a time of 19:11. That is a 4-minute improvement from her
crazy.
last
Yeah,
race.
that
A
is
4-minute improvement?
That is insane.
What was you doing?
Either she's been working or that last race was a fluke.
Something.
Yeah, it's
But
like-
19:11, a 4-minute
4
increase?
minutes is crazy.
yeah, she hustled somebody, bro.
Yeah.
Because
Something.
I mean, I feel like your very first race to last race, if it's a 4-minute difference between those two,
Yeah,
that's a
that's
great
understandable.
improvement.
Over
Yeah.
the course of the
So
season.
she had it from one race to the,
the
next.
next.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's insane.
That's
4 minutes is
insane,
a
bro.
lot. I mean,
Somebody
that is
said
a
her,
way
her
faster
parlay
pace.
somewhere,
Something.
and she had to.
Somebody said, hey, if you do this right here, you know,
Yeah,
hey,
she shook back.
Yeah, for sure.
So she ended up placing 4th overall. On the men's side, for the 8K, did I not put the contestants down? Anyway, it was a lot of contestants. She ended up placing 4th, so big on her part. On the men's side for the 8K, there was 91 contestants, and we had 3 top 10 finishes. Of course, Evans placed 2nd with a time of 25:37. Jace placed 3rd with a time of 25:38, and David placed 8th with a time of 25:54. As a whole, the men's team placed 3rd overall at the NCCAA championships. So that is another accomplishment for cross country. I talked about it last week, how they placed 2nd in the conference, and then they come out here and place 3rd at the NCCAAs. So cross country coaches really
making some noise.
really making some noise for us. And like I said, as a whole, 3rd overall out of 11 teams, and then Immaculata and Evans will be at nationals on this Friday. So we had 2 individuals qualify for nationals, and then we placed 3rd as a team for the men's at the NCCAA nationals, and 2nd as a team for men's at the conference tournament. So really changing some things for this cross country program. Now let's go on to women's basketball. Women's basketball had a matchup against Langston. Both teams undefeated. We were ranked 13th in the nation as the new rankings had came out just before the game. And I said to myself and others, I said, listen, we've been dealing with turnovers a lot recently. I said to myself, if we have more than 15 turnovers in this game, we probably ain't going to win. I was wrong. I don't know how y'all do it, but y'all managed to do it. They had 18 turnovers, and they still won this game. What I will say, Langston, I don't know if they had a vendetta out on Megan or something.
But they were on
But
something.
they was fouling like
They
crazy.
decided Megan wasn't gonna beat.
That's what I'm
Megan
saying.
not
They
gonna beat
said
them.
Megan is not gonna beat us. They said, I don't care who beat us, Megan ain't gonna beat us. I think they had 3 girls that they were interchanging that all was like, when you get in this game, we fouling her. And if you ain't fouling her, you better be like white on rice.
Yeah,
And
they were.
it wasn't no soft foul.
No,
they
it wasn't
was
no
gonna make
soft
it count.
foul.
They was gonna punch you in the mouth one time or two.
Yeah.
Yeah, they look like how the Pistons used to do Michael
feel
Jordan.
me,
They just pounded it.
Jordan rules for Megan.
Yeah,
man.
put it to the ground.
Oh, me. But like both teams had their fair share of turnovers early on in this game. But the biggest thing was, so like, it was 7-8 in turnovers. We had 7, they had 8. But the thing was, they capitalized off the turnovers, and we didn't. They had 11 points off of our turnovers, and we only had 3 points. So it's like when you get that ball back, you got to make it count. You got to make it count. So we were down 9 at the end of the first quarter. It was down 13 at one point in the second quarter. So I was thinking to myself, this do not look good.
It did not.
It does not look good. But in that second quarter, with about 6 minutes left, we started teeing up. You already know who it is over here on the wing. Theodore. Skabow. You already know. She gonna shoot that thing.
That's the first game I really watched them, and I love the way she plays the game.
She really plays. And then Emily was doing her thing. She was getting down the court. She had a really efficient game. She had 10 points. I think she was 5 for 5 or something like that. Something crazy. Again, Emily here, finishing at the rack, getting the job done. Then here at the end of the half, had a good block by Brooklyn to keep it at, like I said, only down 2 at the half. So we had to come back. Then you already know who coming back out. Theodore, she doing that thing, man. I'm telling you, boy.
That's Luka Doncic.
She's not playing. She's not
That's
playing.
how she plays.
Then we had the fast break. We honestly started opening it up right here. Langston did keep it close a little bit, but we were still doing our thing. Emily getting down the court, just taking it by herself, getting a job done. Like I said, she was really having a really big game for us. And who else? Who else? Theodore, off the block. Come get it to me. Stop playing.
Yeah.
Stop playing. And so we got down to the end of this game, and after that big old lead, we let them come back. And it was a tie ball game with just less than 4 minutes left in the game, right? So, who gonna step up? Who gonna step up? I'll tell you this. Caitlin Jordan was quiet all game. She had 6 points up until the end of the fourth quarter. That's unheard of for Caitlin.
For her, yeah.
That's unheard of for Caitlin. So that was a little quiet game for her. But she came out and she scored 2 big buckets for us. She really got it done, and that boosted us the rest of the way, and we ended up winning this game. Like I said, what was the score? What was the end of the score? 78-71. So we ended up winning this game, which was really big for us. But what I will say is that shooting performance. We struggled for a reason. That was our worst shooting performance all year against probably the best competition that we had played all year.
True.
And we still found a way to win the game.
Found a way to win.
And I think that says a lot about us as a team.
It does.
I mean, you're telling me you catch us on our worst shooting performance and 18 turnovers, and we can still go out there and win.
Yeah. I mean,
Like, imagine how good this team's gonna look once that stuff gets
When
cleaned
it's
up.
clicking.
Because and this is a team, especially being coached by Coach Cooper. Like, we know this will get fixed.
Yeah.
Like this is going to get fixed. These problems later in the year, we shouldn't see nowhere near as much. I feel like we're gonna find a way for Megan to overcome adversity. And despite, she had 16 points, but that's quiet for her.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
It is. It's very quiet.
Very quiet for her. But I feel like regardless, we're gonna find a way to overcome that. And still go out there and handle business regardless of what any team throws at us defensively.
I think so too. And, and the thing about our team, which is a blessing and a curse, is that they can flip the switch at any given moment and score 15 points in a short amount of time. And so that causes, I feel like that can cause them to relax at times and get comfortable. But then, but then here they come, they turn it on and it's over with. And that's what keeps us dangerous. And also, you can't bet on if you think Caitlin's not going, if she going to continue to struggle offensively, it's not going to happen. I'm telling you right now, she's going to heat up and she will be right back where she needs to be.
Yeah, she's one of them ones.
And on top of that, it's just like, even with that starting 5, it's pick your poison.
It is. Yeah.
It's really, and I'm not even talking them up. When I tell you every girl on that court has the opportunity to pop off at any given moment in the game, if you have a team like that, you could probably have some rough games and still pull out a win.
Exactly.
And on top of that, our bench has so much depth.
Definitely.
It's like whenever you throw somebody in, and they're gonna go out regardless of how many minutes they're getting that game. They're gonna go out there and do their job very well every single time, and you can count on it.
The biggest thing is Theodore at that 6-man position, bro. That she is a weapon. She's a weapon.
I think our girls are a nightmare to match up with because you can't double team anybody because they got too many shooters. You take Megan out the game, okay, we'll go small. We'll put Popovich in, let Caitlin run the 5, and now we're running, shooting threes, and And Popovich could very well, I mean, she could be our leading scorer off the bench all year if she wanted to.
really
Like,
could,
she has game. Like, that's the first time I've watched her. And, she got a bag that's pretty deep, especially at this level. So, I mean, I think our girls, it's going to be a challenge to beat our girls. I don't care who they're playing.
No matter how bad they playing.
Yeah,
that's the crazy thing.
Exactly.
Let's take this one on to Central Christian. They had a matchup against Central, and Central was hitting early. I ain't gonna lie. Central was hitting threes left and right. They was banging them, and from what we've seen in the past from Central women's basketball, that was a surprise.
They completely shocked me.
That was a big surprise, and so it did. And I guarantee you, coach was teed up. They was down at the end of the first, 21-16, and Buddy was in their face, and rightfully so. Because I don't care how good they playing, they still not better than y'all. Let's keep it a buck.
They're not close to y'all.
No, not at all.
This is a team that I believe our JV girls would have beat last year. Like I will give them credit. They've improved. They've improved drastically, but we weren't playing to our standards either.
We still outscored them in the second quarter, but it just wasn't a great half overall for us. But luckily, like I said, we're not playing a powerhouse of a team, so we still went into the half tied at 39. But in that second half, the biggest thing that changed was Megan. Megan only had 3 points in the first half, so another unfamiliar performance from another player on this team. But like you said, anybody can catch fire at any time, so let's check it out. In that second half, man, it was feed the ball to Megan, because we got to get her in this game to get moving offensively, and that's exactly what they did. Back on the fast break, had the and one right here. She gets the rebound, puts it back up, gets another and one. So she was really coming out with an aggressive style of play. Then we get the ball back to her. Just feed the monster at this point. Just keep it going. Just keep it going. So who else gonna step up? Who else? T. Big time. Off the bench, coming up. She had 11 points in this quarter alone. In the third quarter alone. Big time three. Foul. You already know what I'm saying.
She was shit. She got up in a hurry, bro.
I'm telling you, bro. Another one. Here you go. Foul. You already know what I'm saying. So she was really shooting. And then it's crazy how quickly things turn around for us just off of a couple players coming back into the game. So we ended up winning this game 89-78. But like I said, it was another tough shooting performance. 37% from the field, 23% from the three, and 74% from the free throw line. So these past two games have been some rough shooting. And like I said, still getting the job done. But a big thing for this game is only 10 turnovers. That was the least amount of turnovers we've had all year. That's a great improvement. Now, you take this game from turnovers and take the other games from shooting. Come on. Come on. Even because I got these notes. I need y'all to hear this. Even with these last two performances, I know we over time, I'm sorry, but even with these last two performances, not great shooting, we're still 9th in the nation for field goal percentage. 9th in the nation, shooting 48% from the field. And we're the number one offensive team in the nation, scoring 96 points per game.
And they're an offensive juggernaut. I mean,
that's definition of high-powered offense.
They fly around on defense as well, but I mean, our offense for the Flying Queens, it's always been about our offense. They shoot a lot of threes, they run in transition, and they got a lot of different weapons, and it's obviously showing even more this year than it has in the years past.
Absolutely. Now we're gonna take this one on to men's basketball, and then we're gonna wrap this one up, y'all. Men's basketball had a matchup against the number one ranked team in the nation, Langston. So y'all already know everybody was teed up. Gym was lit. The gym was lit, and I'll say it again, the gym was lit.
Because in my 3 years of being here, I ain't never seen nights like that. I'll give it to you.
Student section showed out.
That was tough.
Energy.
That was tough. Shout out to the student section. Shout out to what's his name, Brett Wilburn. he was the leader of the whole thing.
The Blue Crew.
So yeah, shout out to you,
Brett. We came out playing some really great defense. Shout out to Kabin. I think that man, he got into some foul trouble, but he really had a presence in the paint against Langston, really keeping them from really getting anything going down low.
A lot of plays that you won't see
in the stats. You won't see it on the stats. And we kept up with them offensively. Not only kept up with them, but got out ahead of them, partly due to the fact that we was playing some great team ball. Everybody was getting touches. You already know Kabin at the top of the key. Boom. You already know what I'm saying? So everybody going crazy. Got Kabin going crazy. Then my boy Julian, the freshman, a tough bucket. Should have been an and one. Anywho, James Lee was getting active as well. I think he had 7 in that first half. Then cutting it out here to the wing, Dylan getting some love over there. Then my boy Q got going, you know. So offensively, this team was really starting to get active. And everybody was getting touches on the ball. And when you got everybody getting touches on the ball, you're probably not gonna beat the team. You're probably not gonna beat the team. The problem is, we have a lot of guys that can score, but and then Nico. Nico had a big game. Nico had a big game. But what I was saying earlier, the thing is, you have a team like this where everybody on the floor can score. It might not be that you have a bunch of electric scorers, and that's not to say anything bad about the team. That's just saying that you might not have a guy, you might not have 1 through 10 that's going to come out on the court and just jack up a bunch of threes and drain them. But everybody on this team, if they're getting touches and they're getting love, everybody's going to score. And playing a team like Langston, you got to have that because that hero ball ain't going to cut it against Langston.
I think that game was the best team ball I've seen from Wayland basketball program.
Absolutely.
Everybody got their touches. Like I said, the energy was amazing. Like I said, I mean, props to the student section as well. But energy, attitude, everything never let up. We constantly kept moving the ball and getting the simple buckets. That's all it came down to. We got simple buckets. Yeah. Nothing was flashy. Nobody was ball hogging. Nope. Everybody trusted each other, trusted coach's game plan, and it worked.
And I'm gonna let you get your touch on this. Let me finish this game right here. We continue playing some tough defense. And the big thing was we swarmed to the ball for rebounds. And I'm pretty sure off of the eye test, we were outsized. We were outsized. But we still kept that rebounding game really close, 41-38. We had 38 rebounds. They had 41 rebounds. So that was big for us. I know that had a big impact on this game. Now, with a minute left in this game, tie ball game. Quentin had been quiet for most of this game. But when it came down to the end of the game, give the cue. What he gonna do? Say that. Come on, man. Stop playing. Stop playing. Then he came back and got a big steal. Almost had an and one, but that was all we needed. That was all we needed. And that was the game. I'm sorry, y'all, but we got a special guest on the show. Bring her up here, man. Bring her up here, man. We already over time, so we might as well. Sadie, come on up here, man. We got a dog on the show, y'all. Here she go. She up here. Say what's up to Sadie. She wanted to get on. She wanted to get some camera time. She said we was talking too much. I'm sorry, Sadie. We almost done, Sadie. I promise you, this is the last game we're gonna get to. Like I said, so that was big for us. We ended up winning this game. Some stats from this one. Nico, 17 and 7, 7 for 10 from the field. A lot of sevens going around for the boy, and that's the number of completion. If you read the Bible, you would know that.
Hey, come on, man.
So that boy was really, that boy was really doing his thing. And Dylan had 12 points, 50% from the three and from the field. Julian hit some big shots. He had 9. So as a team, some great things. Also as a team comparison, we beat them in every shooting category. 48% from the field, they had 40%. 36% from the three, they had 28%. 68% from the free throw, might not have been that great, but they were shooting 45% from the line.
I'm going to get out in the student section.
That's all to the student section. That's all to the student section. You already know it is.
They
was on it.
Student section was getting creative for that one. I give it to him, man.
Go ahead and give me your spiel, man. Go ahead and give me your spiel, man.
I mean, man, as most of y'all know, they're ranked number 1 in the country for a reason. I mean, they haven't played a close game all year, and I think we definitely were undersized. I mean, Langston goes in and they intimidate a lot of people and they bully a lot of people. They just go get offensive rebounds and second chance points, and then next thing you know, they go on a 10, 15-point run. And so we knew they were going to go on a run. They're a very well-coached team, but they went on the run, and I think we responded, and that's the difference between this year's team and some teams of past is that we handled they went on a run, we handled it, and then went on our own run and finished the ball game. So, man, it was just a beautiful thing to be a part of. I don't think I've ever been that lit after a game or during a game, man. Like, the students really carried us. So I give that one to them as well. But, man, we showed up, and, I mean, how much fun is it to beat the number 1 team in the country at home? I mean, come on, man. Go in the locker room and celebrate. So it's a memory I'll never forget for sure.
I hear that, man. Before we end this game, like I said, we won this one 71-63, upset the number 1 team in the nation, gave them their first loss of the year. I got to show y'all a little clip. I got to show y'all a little clip. I got to show y'all a clip.
Hey, man,
what was you doing, Tom?
Hey, man, it was a banana on the court.
What in the world, bro? This man, Tucker, boy, I don't know, they had a sniper out there somewhere.
Hey, man, it was a banana on the court. I just slipped up, bro.
Should have had a new segment called Tucker Fool.
Something. The last game, so we can go ahead and close one out. They had a matchup against Central at the end of the week, man. And I ain't gonna lie to you, we dropped the goose egg. I don't know if I should cover this game stat-wise or if I should just go on a rant. I think I'm gonna just go on a rant because I think that will wrap it up quicker. Central did their thing. They were shooting from 3. And we weren't shooting from 3. And all game, what's crazy is even though we weren't playing great ball, we were still in the game. This team was undefeated. They were not an undefeated team, in my eyes, a team that should be undefeated. Because even though we were not playing well, we were still in this game all the way through. And honestly, I ain't gonna lie to you, we should have won the game. We should have won the game, and we didn't. We ended up losing 60-58. Now,
I'm not even gonna say we played bad. We shot bad.
We shot
That's
bad.
all it came down to. And it's not like it was bad shots. Shots wouldn't
They
fall.
were open.
And it happens in basketball.
yeah,
It's basketball, it's gonna happen.
and I know that happens. And that's why I'm gonna get to this next point. Central was in foul trouble, big foul trouble. A lot of their players were in foul trouble. We weren't hitting a 3. So at what point in this game do you make up your mind that, okay, let's get to the paint? All these boys in foul trouble, let's make it happen. Let's get them out of the game. Or drive to the paint with a purpose, get you a bucket, get something going offensively. Now, with 15 seconds left in this game, we got the ball. We got the rebound. We came down court. Didn't call a timeout. Let the play happen. I know sometimes if you got players that you just want to see them do their thing, you trust them, that's fine. That's fine. We let them hoop. Then we missed a shot. Then we called a timeout with just a couple seconds left in the game. I'm going to ask you this before we get into this. Was that play at the end, was that the drawn-up play?
To an extent, yeah.
To an extent?
It was drawn to, I mean, there were some other options out of it, but it was drawn to give Q the ball and him to make a play based off what they did. So it wasn't just give Q the ball, he shoot it. Like but we did, we executed the first part of it, and then he made the read that he made, and that was it. It wasn't, I wouldn't say that it was just a random give him the ball type thing.
I got you. And as a shooter, you're going to shoot the ball, and I understand that completely. What I will say, though, is I feel like in this situation where you know that the 3 ball hasn't been your game, I don't think that's what you go to at the end of this game. I really don't, especially with Adiola having a big game himself in the paint. 5 for 5, 11 points. Maybe go back to the big, hope he gets fouled. Maybe drive down to the paint, make something happen. Maybe you get an and one. At best, you make the free throw and you get the shot that you wanted to get. So my thing is, why are we shooting the 3 at the end of this game, 10% from the 3 as a whole, and giving them the win? Basically, we gave them the win. I feel like at what point in the game, because I get it. I know the basketball mindset of shoot or shoot and live or die by something, but, like, I don't care about none of that notion. The thing is, at some point in this game, you have to make an adjustment. And I feel like we didn't make the adjustment.
I think in that situation with the ball in Q's hands, which I'm, perfectly fine with.
Yes,
he's
I am
a great
too.
player. I'm more than confident in the ball in his hands. I think he's going to make the right read.
Yes.
And watching that play from the perspective that I did, like, you could see him with the intent to drive.
Yes.
Because the drive was there, and he had him beat, but you can see the defender overplay the drive. And he stepped back and pulled the 3, and I'm happy with the shot because it's a shot that we've seen him make over and over and over.
But see, I'm not
again.
even putting it on that play because it shouldn't have been on that one play.
For sure,
What
for
I'm
sure.
saying is, as a whole, why didn't we make that adjustment once we realized where we were?
For sure. For sure.
I mean, well, I guess I'll get on I'll talk about the whole game after, but like just to address that question, I mean, because in my opinion, the looks we were getting were wide open threes. They were, I mean, shots that you shoot on the gun. So if we would have been just settling and shooting contested threes, Guyan definitely would have been like, yo, we're settling too much. Let's get to the paint. And we did get to the paint, and I mean, myself, Dylan missed a couple. We did not shoot well from the free throw line. But I think it's the quality shots that we were getting, we still had to live with. At the end, that was just, I mean, that's a shot that I still would live with Q shooting every time. But to your point, I think if we would have been taking bad threes, we would have made the adjustment. We were taking catch and shoot wide open threes. We just were not hitting them.
And the ball movement was there. Like, everything was there. The ball just didn't fall in the hole. And I feel like having the team that we have and our shooters shooting the way that they do, you don't want to stop shooting. Like, what? Like, if... Like, I feel like you're going to let the defense,
it's a double-edged
you know what I'm saying?
It is a double-edged sword, because I get it. Like, I understand what you're saying, because as a whole, they were as wide open threes. Why would you not take that? But I guess my only halting, like, moment or thought is just the fact that even if they're open, right now, I think we would have been better off driving to the paint. They had 2 guys that had already fouled out, and 3 or 4 of the guys that were on the court all had 4 fouls. And so I'm like, hey, get to the paint.
Yeah.
Get them boys out of here.
True.
You get them boys out, who they gonna put in?
Yeah.
Exactly.
That's all I'm saying.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, man. All in all, it's just like that shows you sports will humble you quickly, bro. We were on top. We beat the #1 team in the country and thought we were good. And then here comes and I'll give Central Christian credit. They've been a horrible team in recent years. That team will make the conference. Like they're a good team this year. I think we should have beat them, of course. I'm always gonna say we should beat anybody, but they're a top 6 team in the conference in my opinion. They're not a pushover like they have been. But I mean, to end on a positive note. We couldn't throw a rock in the ocean. I think we shot 3 for 30 maybe from 3, and that's historically bad since I've been here. I've never been a part of a game where we shot that bad, and we lost the game by 2 points. So I mean, that's the only that's the only thing you can look at and be like, okay, well, man, I mean, we make obviously one more we win, but like we make 40% of those, we win by 10, 15. So it's just like, man, it sucks to go out like that, and there were definitely plays that we could have executed that would have led to us winning the game. So I can't blame it all on the shooting, but you look at every stat but shooting and we won. So it's like, well, that tells the story of the game.
Yeah. Every stat but shooting shows we won by 30.
Exactly.
We're going to go on into the upcoming games this week and close this one out. Thursday, basketball has a matchup against UNT Dallas. Women's at 6, men at 8. Friday, women's wrestling will be at the Missouri Valley Open. Saturday, men's wrestling has a duels match against the 11th ranked team in the nation, St. Mary. Basketball, also on Saturday, will have a home matchup again against Nelson at 2 for women's, at 4 for men's. And last announcement I have is Jamal Williams and Alex Neary, first team All-SAC, so props to y'all boys. That's all we got for y'all this week, man. We're going to come back next week maybe with some more interesting things for y'all, and we're going to shout out some players, highlight some players. We'll see y'all same time next week.